So is the Fist of Heaven's Paladin actually going to be like a good starting character for the first ladder for Diablo 2 Resurrected? That's what we're taking a look at right here today. I'm going to show you super quick what I'm doing here at first. I'm simulating roughly, or whatever you want to call it, around a level 15 Paladin here for normal. Now it is a high level character, so I kind of did the best I could by just putting 15 levels worth of points into essentially strength and vitality to wear my gear and get some life. And then over on the gear, just garbage gear that I went and shopped from a car and stuff. Some of it is higher level or whatever, but it's just not really anything great. I did throw on a stealth, and I have a caster belt and amulet just to get a little cast rate, I suppose. You could get that from some 10 FCR rings. You see I have no rings down here just because I didn't feel like throwing any on there. It would just kind of overpower it for being such a low level thing right here. Now when we go ahead and take a look at the skill tree, this is where we can jump into one of the first, we'll call it cons, I guess. It can be a little bit annoying to start with this character just because the skill you actually use here first is Holy Bolt, but you can't even get Fist of Heavens until level 30, which you're going to essentially be out of normal, and that's very high. If you were going with a Blessed Hammers build, you can actually get that right here. It's at the level 18. So you can actually be throwing hammers way earlier than you can if you go with the Fist of Heavens. That's just one small con here that we're starting off with. And make sure you stick around all the way to the end of the video, because I'm not putting them in order, all cons, all pros. I'm going to just go about them as I come across them. So it can be slightly, in my opinion, annoying to start, because you're going to be going with sacrifice, and then your next few points you're going to be kind of putting into things that don't necessarily help you a ton, and they won't help you later on. They're just 1 point here, 1 point there that you're going to need to get down to other skills later, because Fist of Heavens, you need Holy Shock and Holy Bolt are two different synergies right there. Holy Bolt you're obviously going to be pumping points into. That's kind of what you're going to be using for your main attack early on. But then the Holy Shock over on offensive auras, you can't really get down to that till level 24. But you can go ahead and put points down this side if you want to. You could use the Holy Fire Aura early on if you want to, if you're doing regular attacks, or you can throw on Might Aura to help your mercenary out, or to help out your regular attacks right at the beginning of the game. So it does help you out a little bit. Over on defensive auras, I'm eventually going to want to get down to redemption, so I just put 1 point into this as if I was trying to, you know, not waste any points and get down to redemption. But if you notice what I'm doing here, this is already going into a synergy for Fist of Heavens. The other stuff, I'm leading my way down to Fist of Heavens. So that is actually leading into a pro for this build. You shouldn't really have to respec this character. It is a small pro. I kind of assumed that respeccing a character on a playthrough is kind of a given, so having to respec isn't necessarily a con, but not having to respec is a small pro, so I will go ahead and mention that one right there. And we'll jump into another pro right here, and it is kind of a good one, because a lot of characters, if you're running a sorceress, you're dealing out all your damage and killing stuff, or if you're barbarian, you're getting up there and swinging, but you're not really doing anything to necessarily directly help other people out besides fighting the monsters like everybody is. But with these type of builds here on the Paladin, you could be rocking things like Salvation eventually, even early on like this character right here. You could be doing Might, helping out the melee characters. There's a lot of different things with these auras. The auras can really help out all of your party, and I kind of view that party support as a pro. And let's not forget to mention, for the party support, obviously Holy Bolt, you can actually heal people on your party when you hit them with that. And this is just players 1 in normal with just hardly any points put in. My mercenary has no gear on, but he is kind of higher level, so we'll just go ahead and try to take everything out before a mercenary can go ahead and swing, really. Now the thing is anything that's not a demon or undead, you can't really kill. These are demons, so it's a-okay. It does not work too bad. And this is, like I said, Act 4 normal. All this stuff, demons right here, you can take them out, no problem. Boom, boom. And like I said, you can go ahead and shoot the mercenary, and you see it's actually healing him. He has full health, but that's just a quick example of the damage this would be doing. We'll jump into another pro here to show you, and it's all kind of over on the skill tree. I want to mention it is a semi kind of easy build in order to go into a hybrid type of build, such as here I put 1 point into Smite, and Smite you don't necessarily need a lot of points into. If you can just, like, you could literally just swap out your boots and start smiting a boss and chop down its health like crazy with all the crushing blow. But as you see down here with Fist of Heavens, it's just Fist of Heavens, then the two synergies, Holy Bolt and Holy Shock. So it's only 60 points for your to get your main skill fully synergized and maxed out, which when you get higher level, like here I'm a 94 Paladin, you're going to be left with a ton of other skill points to put into all different types of different hybrid builds that people are going to end up coming up with. So now we are in about Nightmare here. I'm simulating between like a 38 to 42-ish Paladin, I suppose. So kind of start and mid Nightmare or whatever. So just looking at the points I have into here and over here on the skill tree, I put a points all over the place, kind of because I was thinking if you were going to end up doing some sort of hybrid, maybe you could end up going, I just put 1 point into Fanaticism, and I had the 1 point into Smite to kind of have that Smite just to use an attack and deal more damage faster and stuff like that. But we got down to Fist of Heavens. I pumped a bunch of points into that, and I put a few more points into Holy Bolt since it's a synergy of Fist of Heavens, but you can see definitely they are not all maxed out. Over on the offensive auras, getting down to Conviction here, and eventually I'm going to be putting a bunch more points into this. We'll just go ahead and put one more in there. You can see how much it jumps up per level you put in it. You -5 to the resistance, and that is because with Fist of Heavens down here, all of that lightning damage. So that's what we're going to use here mainly while we're attacking is Conviction. So we'll jump into a pro for this particular build, and this is kind of a pro for Paladins in general, and that is all these different auras, but specifically this Redemption aura is absolutely amazing and totally slept on and not really talked about as much, but I would say you always have to have this. You knock down monsters, and all you do is you have up your main aura over here. After the monsters are down, you switch to the Redemption, the souls go up, and you get all the life. And I'll go ahead and give you an example of that right now. So here we are, Nightmare River of Flames. Great place to test it out, right? There's going to be some demons out here. Drop down some Fist of Heavens on them, and down they go. And you see the mana's down. What we can go ahead and do is just switch to Redemption. Whoop. And did you see the red come up and the mana fill right back up? We can go ahead and drop these down again and give you another example of that. It's super easy. Most people do know about it, but I do want to point it out to anyone who's new. And boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Redemption. Boom. The souls go up and we get the mana. The soul goes up. We get the mana. And usually it goes a little bit faster than that particular one right there, but it is such a useful skill. I did want to point that out as a mega pro for generally going Paladin. And actually that can lead into what I believe is another pro specifically kind of for the Paladins, but even more so for this build is survivability. You see how far away you can attack from. If you can see it, if you can barely see it, you can toast them, no problem. You don't have to get right up in there and take them out. You can hit them from a long ways away and not have a problem. You have all these different skills such as Redemption to bring your health right back up, so you don't have to worry about that. There's all different kinds of auras up here if you ever want to get down to perhaps Salvation to help your all res. And as most people know, I can show in a little bit, but Pally shields, I don't have one right here, but they can have 45 all res on them inherently. Put a spirit in it, you can have a ton of resistances. It is not difficult on a Paladin to max out your resistances, so it really is, the Paladin just has a ton of survivability as well. So I do want to mention a con here. It's been a while since I mentioned one, but it's not great at anything that is a regular monster that isn't undead or demon. See right here, Eldritch and Shank, good examples. These are minions. Not really going to do a whole lot. Now the demon caster there, or the demon spear woman, whatever you call it, got taken out right away. But you can see it does get the lightning damage from the Conviction direct shot. But in general, it is not particularly fast to do anything that isn't the undead or demons. But I will mention, almost probably like 75% of everything in the whole game is undead or demons. So take that into consideration. Alright, we'll jump into here. Now we're in Hell, and I'm simulating, I guess, roughly around level 85. I haven't used all my stat points, but I counted out 85 times that I clicked and put 5 points into these stats. All I went was Vitality and Strength, so I'm not going max block version, which you absolutely could put points in the dex and go for max block if you would like to. I personally did not, but I still have very budget gear over here. Spirit here. I did put a Spirit shield over here to be casting with. The same stuff over for the rest of this stuff, so I don't really need to go over all of that right there. The Mercenary, I did end up putting gear on now for having a Treachery, a Talos Mask, and an Insight. The go-to budget option for that. For the stats, I just went ahead and continued maxing out Fist of Heavens. The Holy Bolt and the Holy Shock to go ahead and get the Fist of Heaven super high there. For offensive auras, as we get more here, we're going to want to go ahead and pump more into Conviction as we get them. So right here now, you get the resist all down to -100 because lightning damage 2000. So that's going to definitely help that out. So that's what we'll go ahead and jump to the Chaos Sanctuary. And we're going to show this out. It is a pretty good budget build. So that's definitely a pro for this. It is a pretty good budget build. This, of course, anytime you got a budget build, you're not going to be just slaughtering the entire game like easiest thing ever. But go ahead and flop on Redemption here, get my mana back, and then go ahead and start attacking again. So there you go, knock them down, go ahead and flip up Redemption, boom, and then move on. Mercenary can take him out, I suppose. Flip that Redemption up, go ahead, scoot on. We are poisoned up here, so we're losing a bit of health there. Switch back to Conviction. But this, you can just see, I'm just doing this to kind of show it is a pretty good budget build. And as you can see, also, we're going to lead into another pro here. The FCR isn't necessarily the most important. Like, you don't have to hit 125 or the build's unusable. So we'll jump into another pro for this build. It's actually really easy to get enough faster cast rate to get essentially the highest breakpoint that you need to hit here. If we look at our faster cast rate, I actually have 150 faster cast rate, more than you really need. So I could pull some stuff off here if I had better options, but it's just a Spirit Sword, Spirit Shield. We've got the Stealth Armor, Trangs Gloves, and then Caster. So that's actually more FCR than you really need. So if you did get, you have no problem throwing on an SOJ if you get lucky enough to find one, or a BK ring, or anything like that. Or if you get an armor that has like a 1 to skill and you don't have a Viper Magi yet, you could throw on something like that. Or also later on, obviously, as you get into even better gear, you have no problem throwing on an Enigma to teleport around and still hitting that FCR breakpoint. And for the very last pro here, it's a new build. It's a new build. A lot of people, new equals better. So if you are tired of going with that Blizzard Sorceress all the time, you're tired of going with the Hammered In or whatever, this is definitely a great option to start off ladder, in my opinion, if you want to try something new for sure. And for a lot of people, they have to try something new. So that actually concludes. There's almost no cons with this build, really, in my opinion. It's all really a lot of pros, and that's why this is going to be an incredibly popular build here for the first ladder for Diablo 2 Resurrected.